the importance of self-care and what to do to prioritize yourself so that way you can still accomplish your goals with efficiency and productivity. So in this podcast, I'm talking to you guys about the signs of burnout and what to do to avoid that. And I want to start off by first telling you a story about how I got burnt out about 2 years ago. So about 2 years ago, I was doing really well in my business. Things had really started to turn around. I was going through a tough time, but I was able to kind of figure out the lead generation piece. And business was going great. I was getting more leads than I can actually handle, to the point that I had to give these leads to other client, or not other clients, but other therapists that I know. So things were really, really great for me. And as I was working, I started to feel this tension in my chest. And for a moment, I just ignored it. I thought, maybe, it's from the gym, or, maybe something happened when I was sleeping. I don't know. And I noticed that this pain wasn't going away. So I was like, okay, maybe I should pull back on the amount of clients that I'm seeing. And I did. I reduced my caseload by maybe like 15, 20%, and I still kept working. But I still felt this pain in my chest. And actually what started to happen was I started to feel like I didn't want to do the work. I didn't want to see clients. I didn't want to wake up early and go to the gym. All the things that I was doing to basically be productive, to be effective, started to take a downward turn. And there's this thing called the law of diminishing returns. And I want you guys to look that up, but I'm going to explain it very briefly here. So basically what it states is that there's a certain threshold that when you pass, the returns that you get on the effort that you're putting in actually starts to decrease. So you can think about it in terms of, let's say, units of time. Let's say 1 hour is a unit. If originally we put in 5 hours or 5 units of work, you may have gotten 10 units of productivity back. But as you keep going, or let's say getting burned out, you may find that when I put in 5 hours or 5 units of work, I may only get 3 back in terms of, let's say, productivity, units, rewards, accomplishments, whatever it is. Basically, I'm putting in more and I'm getting less in return. And that started to hit me. So what I did was I said, you know what? I'm going to see less clients. I'm not going to go out. I'm just going to stay in. So I wasn't going to see friends. I wasn't going to the gym. I wasn't going for walks. I just kind of became like a turtle. And I figured, well, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And yet nothing changed. So one day I was at church and, our pastor said, hey, we're having this 8-week emotionally healing course. And me as a therapist, I was like, oh, that sounds great. Let me go check it out. So I went, and what I realized was that I was starting to feel more fulfilled. I started to feel more energy by being a part of this group. And this is not to say that, I'm trying to say spirituality or anything like that is like the key to self-care. And I'm also saying that it's not. What I'm saying is I went to something that gave me return back on my time, my energy, my body, all that stuff. And that's when it hit me. That's when I realized that when you're practicing self-care, you're not supposed to just stop everything. It's not about not doing anything. It's more so about doing the right things. It's more so about going to the beach, going to see friends, going to your place of religion. It's about going and doing the things that's actually going to fulfill you. I can even go back to the example about the gym. It's not about not going to the gym. That's probably the best time to go to the gym. It's when you're feeling drained, you're feeling burnt out. That's when I started to shift. That's when things started to change for me and started to get that energy back. And I was able to increase my caseload back, but also I was still productive. I was still able to go to the gym, work on my podcast, work on my webinars, my courses, all these things that I was originally just putting on the shelf. And that was a sign to me that self-care is more so about doing things and not necessarily not doing things, right? It's about doing the right things, if you will. So today I want to talk to you guys about the 5 signs that you should be looking out for, right? The 5 things that you should be doing to make sure that you're prioritizing your self-care. So that way, while you're still accomplishing your goals, while you're still chasing your dreams, you don't have to pull over and take a pit stop. All right, so let's get to number 1. So the first one is simple, and you guys can write this down. Identify your signs of burnout. What are my signs that I'm actually hitting the end of the road? I need to kind of pull this car around. I need to stop. I need to fill up. What are those signs? For me, it's pain in my chest. Also, it's me not feeling like going to work and doing what I love, right? Those for me are big signs. Another one I would even say is just feeling a little short, right? Feeling like I don't have the patience that I normally have. Those are things that tells me, hey, it's time to take a break. So for you, I would ask you, what are your signs, right? What are your signs that feeling a little burnt out, not as productive? I'm kind of like taking a back seat, if you will. Because I promise you, if you go, let's say 6 months operating at 50%, rather than let's say you go 4 months operating at, let's say 80%, 90%, that 80% that you're going at 4 months, it's going to be more valuable to you than just staying in it, sticking it through for the 5 months or whatever it is that you're only operating at 50%. Okay, so think about that. If you work less, it actually gives you more time, more energy, more, let's say, resources to be more productive in the job, the business that you have. Okay, and that's why self-care is so important. There's a big myth that I hear a lot, and it's this: I don't have time for self-care. I don't have time to go to the beach. I don't have time to go to the gym. Well, to me, that is actually a sign that you should be going to the beach. You should be going to the gym, because you have to make time to actually practice self-care. These are the things that we call investments. Investments is not only things that you do financially, but it's things that you do internally as well. Okay, so you got to invest in yourself, and self-care is a big sign of that. All right, next, you want to identify your hard no's. Now, for me, this is simple. One of those hard no's is not lowering my price, not working on the weekends, and not working with clients past 7 p.m. All right, not individual clients, if you will. For me, those are my 3 hard no's. Now, why is that? Well, it'll go against my values, right? It'll go against things that I value, like family time, quality time, to a degree, even my own self-worth, right? Because I value myself to a point where I'm not going to lower that to fit other people's expectations or beliefs. So I want you to identify in your business, but also even in your personal life, what are your hard no's? And I want you to have the confidence to stick to that. These hard no's is not a slap to someone else. It's not to make someone else like upset or disappointed. These hard no's are for you. Something that I'm famous for saying is that at the back end of every no is a yes, and the back end of every yes is a no. So you have to think about yourself. When I say yes to lowering a boundary, what am I saying no to? Am I saying no to myself, my family, my friends, my mental health? What is it that I'm saying no to? And you have to ask yourself, can I live with that? You know, there may be some instances where I do say yes when I should say no, because the relationship is more valuable than the no that I'm giving, if you will. And that's on a very rare occasion. So I want you to identify not only your hard no's, but also who are the people or the exceptions that you're willing to make. This will help you to protect your time and your energy to put in efforts that are more, let's say, effective for you, right? Whether it's business efforts, healthcare, mental health, personal health, physical health. Like, what is it about these things that you need to execute on that's going to give you the value, the time, the energy back so you can be more productive within your goals? Next, you need to set up a system for your self-care. Self-care is something that should be implemented throughout the day, so that way at the end of the day or at the end of the week, you don't feel burnt out. It's something that you don't also have to think about as well. So think about it like this. If I know I'm going to take my break every day at 12, and it's going to be an hour break, and in that hour, I'm not only going to eat, but I'm going to go outside for a walk. If I do that throughout the week, it'll make it so that I'm not working, let's say 10 hours straight, 8 hours straight, whatever it is, right? Like, that's a system that for a lot of people, if you work for a company, a business, it's already implemented in your contract. So you don't have to actually have to make it happen. But if you're an entrepreneur, I encourage you to find a time that you can stick to, and see if you can stick to it for, let's say, a month. Let's say even, I'd say even a week, and see what it feels like to take that break. Turn off your cell phone, turn off your computer, and just relax, if you will. Another thing that you can do is you can start your day off with self-care as a way to prime yourself for the day. So for me, I love going to the gym at 5 a.m. This is something that I not only do for my body, but it's more so for my mental health. When I do that, it gives me time to just relax, just be to myself. Because outside of that, I'm either a therapist, I'm a husband, or I'm a father, right? These are the things that make up my life. So how often am I able to just be to myself? Well, for me, that's either early in the morning or late at night. So that's what I do for me. I also love listening to gospel music. I go to the lake that's outside my house. These are things that I do early in the morning, even the way that I eat, right? All these things feed into me so that when it's time to, let's say, draw on those energy reserves, I'm pulling from a full tank rather than a half tank or an empty tank. So find a system for you to implement so that way your self-care is something that is automatic. It's not something that you have to think about, but it's already there. Next, I want you to start to set aside resources. So these resources may come in the form of time or money. One thing that I've done with one client who was working on a weight loss journey, I told him every time you eat healthy, take $5 and put it into a bin. And this bin was set aside for a vacation for him and his family, right? This is a way that you can set aside not only resources, but a way to instill good habits as well. Another thing that you can do is, just, as I mentioned earlier, you can set aside time. So one thing that I love doing within my schedule is I see my clients Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. There are some exceptions that I make on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but Monday, Wednesday, Friday, those are really my heavy days. Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then on the weekends, those are days for me. Those are days that I'm working on my business, or those are days that I'm spending with my family. And these are also systemized as a way that I have my hard nose, right? This feeds into just me having this free time whenever I need it. So it's not something I have to like beg for, dig for, or go through hoops of canceling people in order to create this free time. So I want you guys to think, how can I set something up to where it's automatic, it's a system where I can set aside resources so that way my self-care is not such a big pull. It's not hurdles that I have to jump through. It's not a lot of friction between me and the self-care activities that I need to be doing. The last thing that you can do to set up self-care, to prioritize yourself, find out what are the high leverage opportunities, actions within your business or within your day. And I want you to prioritize these first. All right. So think about it like this. If I had 5 things that I need to do, and I'll even show you this because I have it in front of me. If there's, let's say, 5 things, and here I have about 6, right? You can see the task dump that I did on this side. I want to write those things down, and then I want to prioritize them to see which one will give me the biggest return on the time that I put in. These are the things that I start off with first. For me, one of those things is podcasting, it's researching, and even reading. These things give me all the information that I need to then go out and help people on a big level. Now, there are some small things that I need to do, but those things, they don't take as much brain power as, let's say, reading, podcasting, and all this other stuff. So as a result, I save those to the end. And if I don't get to them, it's okay. It's not a make or break type of thing. So for you, I want you to make sure that you're prioritizing, or as someone famous once told me, make sure that you're keeping the most important thing the most important thing. So identify what these things are, focus on those, implement those things, and see how that gives you time back in your business, your job, or even your personal life. I even give you this last one, and this is more entrepreneur based. If you're working with individual clients, I would challenge you to either raise your prices so you can see less clients, or see if you go from a 1-to-1 format to a 1-to-many format, so that way you can get more of your time back and spend that on other ventures. And that can even include family, personal time, whatever it is. So again, identify your high leverage actions, and that'll help you to then prioritize your time and really like help with that self-care piece as I was speaking. So these are the 5 things that I want you guys to focus on. Please like, comment, or subscribe to this podcast so that way I can get you more content like this. So guys, take care, be safe, and thanks for listening to the Players Coach Podcast.